Good morning, students. We are going to discuss about the poverty alleviation program or eradication of poverty by the government in India. Okay, which are the programs are implemented to remove the poverty. Hope you remember the last classes and all we have discussed about the poverty meaning. Poverty is a situation where the people in a country are unable to get minimum basic needs such as food, shelter, clothing, education and healthcare facilities, isn't it? And later on we have discussed about the who makes the poor physically weak and what are the features of poorest household, everything we have discussed, and categories of poor, poverty line makes the poor non-poor category, so those things and all we have discussed. And later on causes of poverty. Obviously the poverty making the so many reasons are so many factors are reason for all causes of poverty. Now we are going to discuss about the poverty alleviation program. Yes, of course, this program not only implemented right now, this was implemented when the government got independence, India got independence, isn't it? After 1950 only they have started the implementing the program, but it was not like a bulky or accumulated program. They have segregated because we have a dimensions of poverty, which is social factors, employment factors, and overgrowth of population and income oriented factors, and so many things were there, no? So to separate the things, the government also implemented the poverty in a different dimensions. Okay, so that about that dimension we are going to discuss. Number one is growth oriented approach. Number two, income and employment generation approach. Third one, providing minimum basic needs to the people. Okay, we are going to discuss in detail about the three-dimensional programs to eradicate the poverty by the government. Number one is growth-oriented approach. See, 1950s to 60s, the government implemented the growth-oriented approach based on economic growth, which is increase the GDP and per capita income to reduce poverty. The government decided when we increase the GDP, gross domestic product, which means the total value of all final goods and services produced by the country in a year. When we increase the GDP, the poverty can be reduced. So this was decided by the government. And next one is, and not only the income increases in a country, but also you know that in India more than 70% or 80% of people are dependent on agriculture, isn't it? So the agriculture also should be improved. Using the old model technology should be reduced. So green revolution should be adopted in the agriculture sector. They have decided. What do you mean by green revolution? Green revolution, which means increasing the productivity in agriculture sector by using the HYV seeds. What do you mean by HYV seeds? High yield varieties of seeds. If you want to use these kind of seeds, you have to use the modern technology and proper irrigation facility and proper extra additional fertilizer, etc. So this was provided at incentive rate by the government. So green revolution also one of the target by the government. And next one, industrialization. What is industrialization? Which means developing the number of industries, not only the small scale cottage or medium scale industry, but also large scale industry. Why we need a industrialization? You know that agriculture sector is a seasonal employment. So the people need to get us additional job security because they don't get a job for all the year, throughout the days in a year. So they need an additional job opportunity. So the people when they are jobless in the agriculture sector, they will move to industrial sector. So industrialization, increasing the number of industries, this will help the people to provide the employment opportunity and income source. Okay, so industrialization also one of the growth oriented approach by the government. And decreasing the disparities, which means removing the inequalities distribution of income. How the government can remove the inequalities distribution of income? Through they collect the taxes from the public, the rich people, those who progressive taxation or indirect taxes. They collect from the people those who have more, and they distribute to the people those who don't have through fair price depot. That is BPL people, they are getting the government provision at cheaper rate. Okay. And one more thing, the midday meal scheme. So many things we will study in the last one, providing minimum basic needs to the people. So in that, so the government will distribute the income, will remove the inequalities in income to the society by distributing this way. So these are the major aims of growth oriented approach by the government, though this attempt was not succeeded. Why? Though the government had so many very well developing or very active program for the removing poverty, but it was not succeeded. Why? Because there was a large growth of population and lack of proper implementation of land reforms. Okay, even agriculture sector, green revolution, they have their plan, but it was not implemented properly because of lack of proper implementation of land reform. Land reforms, which mean improving the productivity by increasing the HYV seeds, using of HYV seeds, quality of seeds, okay ma, and it was widened the gap between rich and poor. So the growth oriented approach was not success in India because of rapid growth of population and improper implementation of land reforms. So again this makes the gap between rich and poor. Okay, and we are going to discuss about the income and employment generation approach. Of course, I don't know how many of you are aware of it. The government has so many programs to provide the employment opportunities for the poor people and the people belongs to the backward category and hilly station remote area for them. So which are the programs I'll tell you. This approach is initiated from third 5-year plan and progressively enlarged since then. Okay, till now. Then these programs can be further classified into two categories. One is self-employment program, another one is wage employment program. See here, in self-employment program, the Swarna Jayanti in self-employment program, the Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozkar Yojana, and which was implemented through the self-help groups providing financial assistance for self-employment. For the self-help group, you know that in village areas and all, the ladies, they will join minimum of 11 people. It can be registered or unregistered by the government. They can make a membership and they can register with the government if they want to get a facilities or incentive from the government for their small activity, productive activity. It can be a tailoring, embroidery, basket making, candle making, pickle making, puppet making, whatever it is. If they belongs to the poor category and they want to earn from some other additional sources of income, and they can start a self-help group and they get a financial assistance from the government through this program, which is Swarna Jayanti Grama Swarozkar Yojana. And another program is Swarna Jayanti Shahari Rozkar Yojana, SJSRY, and Pradhan Mantri Rozkar Yojana, PMRY. These two programs provide financial assistance in the form of bank loans to set up SSI, which means small scale industry. See, the previous program was providing the financial assistance for the self-help group in rural areas. Now at present also the many people are there. They pooled some money to start the productive activity. If they want to enlarge their productive activity, the government is ready to give financial assistance at cheaper rate of interest or no rate of interest. And remaining to set up the small scale industries also in rural area or urban area. These two programs are there, which is Pradhan Mantri Rozkar Yojana and Swarna Jayanti Shahari Rozkar Yojana. These two programs provide the financial assistance to set up SSI in rural areas. Okay, next another category of income and employment generation program approach is wage employment program. See, wage employment program. In this, there are 3 programs are there. Under these 3 programs, the government was giving the employment opportunities to the minimum, providing the source by providing the employment opportunities, minimum working days for the poor people, which is National Food for Work Program, National Food for Work Program, NFWP, and Sampurna Gramina Rozkar Yojana, and Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Program, MGNREGP, provides guarantee wage employment to every household whose adult volunteer is to do unskilled manual work for a minimum of 100 days in a year. Okay, MGNREGP. So this program is main aims to provide the minimum of working days in a year and providing the minimum wage facilities for the unskilled labor in rural area, those who are ready to do the physical work. You could have seen in the rural area and renovating the roadways in the rural national highway or rural roads and renovating the canals, pond in rural area, construction work, etc. So these things are not who is giving by government only. And third approach is providing minimum basic needs to the people. Of course, you can see the poor people, either they can, the rural area or village area or casual workers, the construction workers and all, if they are not able to provide the minimum of one time food for the child, they will put it in government school, because at least child can have at least one time food from the school, isn't it? So this approach is to tackle the poverty by providing minimum basic amenities to the people. The major aim to provide minimum basic needs are: one is public distribution system, number 2 integrated child development scheme, number 3 midday meal scheme. Okay, the public distribution system, obviously you will be familiar with the concept, which means the fair price depot. Fair price department, the government rations, they provide a cheaper rate of provisions to the poor people. And you know that in Karnataka also we are getting the below the poverty line people with the rupees 50 rupees, they get the minimum of all provision, rice, wheat, oil, salt, etc. So this and all through PDS only the government is giving. How they are getting money? Through the taxation. And integrated child development scheme, this is they are providing the minimum nutritional medicine facilities or health facility or nutritional food through the primary health care centers, and they give the minimum 5 years till 5 years from the child in the womb. They used to give the minimum of injection for the mother, pregnant lady, they used to give the injection, medication, and after delivery also they give the nutritional food through the PHS center. And next, midday meal scheme, obviously just now I said in government schools and colleges the people used to get a midday meal, so at least they get satisfaction from the midday meal. So these are the 3 programs which are aimed to provide the food and nutritional status of the poor. Which are the 3 programs which are aimed to provide and improve the minimum nutrition program? PDS, ICDS and midday meal scheme. Okay, and under the minimum, providing minimum basic needs, first food they are giving, and next one what they are going to give? Shelter, extra facilities. The programs that aims to provide the basic infrastructure facilities in rural area, Pradhan Mantri Gram Shadak Yojana and Pradhan Mantri Gramodaya Yojana, PMGSY and PMGY, which provide the infrastructure facilities. You can see now the many places they are giving the sanitation facilities, which mean construction of toilets, etc., and roadways in the rural area, bridges for the rivers or canals, and so many things, electricity, basic water supply and drainage systems. So these kind of infrastructure facilities the government are providing for the rural people through these programs. Which are the 2 programs? Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana and Pradhan Mantri Gramodaya Yojana. And next one is the program that provide shelter to the poor people, which is Indra Awas Yojana and Valmiki Ambedkar Awas Yojana, VAMBAY. Okay, so the program that provide shelter to the poor are Indra Awas Yojana, IAY, and Valmiki Ambedkar Awas Yojana. Okay, and next one is social security measures. Okay, they have given the providing the minimum basic needs, which is food, PDS system, the raw rations, raw food, uncooked meal through the PDS system, and the healthcare facilities and infrastructure facilities, and constructing the houses through IAY, Indra Awas program. Over. Now, which is missing? Insurance facilities. So that also the government is providing through social security measures. The National Assistance Program. This program was introduced by the central government to provide the pension for elderly people who do not have anyone to take care of. Okay, so who do not have anyone. So this kind of people, the elderly people, senior people, those who are retired or those who are aged above 58, the people will get the old age pension. Those who doesn't have to take care, and they get the orphan pension or old age pension. Okay, Nama. So this and all the government is providing. And next one is Yashaswini Yojana. These programs in Karnataka, which provide the health insurance for rural poor in Karnataka. Okay, health insurance for minimum coverage, with minimum coverage, free of cost. The health insurance is provided by the Karnataka government. The program name is Yashaswini Yojana. And one more program in Karnataka is Bhagyalakshmi Yojana. What is Bhagyalakshmi Yojana? Which provide the financial support to the female child which is born in the poor family. Okay, so they provide the insurance for the financial support for the female child in poor family to get the minimum of education and other facilities. And here we are going to conclude the poverty alleviation programs. These programs are introduced by the government of India to reduce the number of poor in our country. Okay, just now we have discussed the government prepared or they have implemented the eradication of poverty, removal of poverty, 3 programs under the 3 approach, which is growth oriented approach and income and employment oriented approach, generation approach, and providing minimum basic needs to the people. So these things and all we have discussed. Already you know that growth oriented approach was not success because of rapid growth of population and improper implementation of land reform. So let it be aside. Now there was a drawback till now, though these many programs are there, still there are, you can see many poor in India. Why the reason? The people are not benefited from the government programs. Why? We will see the drawbacks. Why our poverty alleviation programs implemented by the government not reached to the particular people, poor people, or not removed the poverty in India. The reason behind this, unequal distribution of land and other assets. Yes, the government is, you know that after 1967 there was a land reforms was introduced in India. Land reforms which mean using the land for the proper utilization, increasing the agriculture productivity and taking away from the excess of land from the zamindar and distributing to the small agriculture labor or landless labor, because they utilize more, they produce more. So the Land Sealing Act and all introduced to utilize the land properly, but this was not succeeded. See, unequal distribution of land and other assets also one of the reason for success, not successful, or factor prevent from successful implementation of poverty alleviation program. And non-poor are not getting the benefit, or non-poor are getting the benefit from poverty alleviation program. What is the meaning? Actually, you can see in the ration shop provision, the BPL fair price depot, this government ration shop, you can see the many people who comes by bike and car to get the basic essential from the ration shop, government shop. Compared to the casual workers, those who migrate from one place to another, obviously they don't have a ration card or Aadhaar card or any basic ID proof. So they can't get a minimum basic needs from the government. But the people, those who are residing with their own houses, who have facilities, and the people are getting benefited. And next one, non-participation of local level institution. Obviously, the poor people are not aware of these kind of schemes, because the non-participation, the local level institution, it can be a public sector or private sector, they are not involving and giving awareness to the poor people. You have these kind of facilities, you come and take it and utilize it. And next one, lack of active involvement of poor. Yes, of course, this also is there. You can see in many places, the neighborhood area, though you say these kind of facilities are there, these kind of post office savings are there for your child, and these kind of insurance are there for your family, and if you give ideas also, the people will not be ready to go or move, take an initiative to do these things. Okay, so the poor are not interested to do the active participation. And next, last reason is insufficient resources are allocated for these programs. So these are the reason for not successful of this poverty alleviation program implemented by the government. Okay, Nama. So remember, what do you mean by poverty? Poverty is a situation where the people in a country are unable to get the minimum basic needs, okay, such as food, shelter, clothing, education and healthcare facilities. Okay, and next one is the government implemented to remove the poverty in India programs. Which are the programs? The 3 dimensions they have implemented. One is growth oriented approach, another one is income and employment generation approach, third one is providing minimum basic needs to the people. Thank you, children. Keep learning. All the best.